Hi, everyone. This is Kathleen Taylor, and I am with the Nevada Women's Business Center. And today's a live webinar, live stream broadcast on our Nevada Women's Business Center YouTube. Thank you for tuning in, for those of you that are tuning online on Friday live. And with that, I would go ahead and I'll lead with telling you some topic today, which is business run. And it'll just give you just an overview of the different options that you have as an entrepreneur and regarding the legal formation of your business. So with that, I have some slides prepared and I have some information to share with you. So hopefully you'll have more of an informed viewpoint about the different types of legal entities that a business and you a business owner could consider when you are at that step. So just like also on our live chat feature and ask any questions or make any comments, and I will at the end of the presentation if you would like to leave any comments online. So with that, we'll start with the slide presentation. Thank you so much for tuning in. So earlier, just a couple things about our webinar today. It's for a duration of 1 hour from 2 to 3 p.m. We may finish a bit early. However, you will definitely get a lot of information regarding the topic today. So we'll have some closing remarks towards the end of the webinar. And also, I'd like to leave you with some next steps as well. Let's take a look at the information regarding the different types of structures that a person could consider if you are opening a business. So, for example, these generally speaking are the go-to types of legal structures or legal entities that a person it's like a hybrid between the corporation and also a general partnership. So we'll talk about those things in detail. Well, looking at the sole proprietor, with the sole proprietor, looking at it from how do you file, what do you do? Well, for business formation, you definitely want to file a sole proprietor, that designation with the Department of Secretary of State, specifically the Business and Industry Department. And you can use their online tool called Silver Flume. So if you go online to the Nevada Secretary of State's website, specifically for the Department of Business and Industry, you will see that they have a fantastic portal where you can register your business. So with the sole proprietorship, that you start there. And in addition to that, you also want to file a local business license as well. So in looking at this from a more general perspective with the sole proprietorship, one thing that I find really interesting is that it's even though it's the most common type of business ownership, it's not separate from the owner. It's merely, a different name from a different name with the public that's associated with your business. So, for example, sole proprietorship, and the name of my business is Cupcakes or Us. Then Cupcakes or Us, even though it's different in name only, it's there's no separation between the two of us. So we are inseparable. And I'll talk about that a little bit more in detail when it comes to liability issues and being a sole proprietor. Also, now this type of legal structure, it's pretty, easy to form. Also, when it comes to like taxation, a sole proprietorship, it is a pass-through entity. And what that means is like all of the income, the revenue that's generated as a result of your sales and profits of your business, and all of the expenses too, they pass through and are filed as a part of the owner's personal tax return. Any money that you make as a sole proprietor and any expenses that you incur as a sole proprietor, all of that is part of your personal tax return. A perk. Now, when suit occurs, some type of debt occurs, then you are totally exposed. You and your personal assets are totally exposed for to liability and exposure. So that's one of the things that people should take caution when considering to be a sole proprietorship, even though it is even though it is, really easy to form. The management with the sole proprietorship, the person has, full control, and it's usually webinar. So let's talk a bit about partnership. A general partnership, and we will follow the same format as before with a sole proprietorship. Excuse me, had a little sip of water there. Partnership. Let's talk about that. Like a sole proprietorship, you it's definitely to your advantage that if you were thinking about entering a business, with someone else, then definitely a partnership agreement would be an option or a consideration. So usually a partnership agreement is between has two or even more people, more owners, and should be a written document called a partnership agreement. It's where the owners come together and figure out, okay, so I'm going to come in and have this percentage, of the business, and I agree that you're going to have that percentage of the business, and other types of terms that you come to. So that's basically an agreement between the partners that is created. Now, looking at a couple other things with the partnership, it's not a separate entity from its owners. So 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 there is a potential of liability as well with a partnership. So, and what we mean by that is a partner can be held liable for the acts of the other partners. So this really increases a person's personal liability in a partnership. Have the same type of vision, for the business, and because of that, partnerships are like a marriage. So sometimes they work out fantastic and everything is beautiful and a bed of roses, and sometimes it takes a turn. So you want to do your due diligence to find out if you are a good fit for this particular person in a partnership. And if you could just pardon me just for a second, I just want to check on our slides here. I want to make sure there aren't any technical difficulties that's occurring. So just pardon me just a moment. Okay, let's get the slides up again. Sorry about that little glitch. There we go. So the general partnership, a couple more things. So we talked about the liability issue. We also talked about how prudent it is to know who you're going into a partnership with, because you may never know how everything may turn out. Now, typically has an equal voice, within the partnership, unless, otherwise arranged. So for example, let's say that two people enter a partnership. One has experience in that particular sector. So if it's a software company, and two people have entered into a partnership agreement to own and operate a software company. Well, one partner may have a plethora of experience in marketing, while the other partner may have 20 years of experience as a software engineer. So given that person's experience as a software engineer, that person could have more leverage when it comes to owning a higher percentage of the partnership versus the other partner. So And again, this is all part of the partnership agreement taxes that are due. So just as a sole proprietor, where the when you go to the state of Nevada's Department of Business and Industry and you file for a corporation, then you would file for your articles of incorporation as well with the state. And with the permission of the state, this is where a business can be incorporated. Also, with that, with corporations, it's excuse me, one person can be allowed to be a corporation, which is quite interesting. And also, there are some states that may require two people to serve as officers of that corporation. So, if you were thinking about forming a corporation, specifically a C corp, then these are some of the things that you should consider. It is a little bit more formal than a sole proprietorship and a general partnership. As a matter of fact, with corporations, a C corp and also an S corp corporation, the operational requirements are that you must have a board of directors or officers, and you have to meet at least annually. And also, you have reporting that's required as well. And so, with that, it's very important that you document your meeting minutes. Um, when you are meeting, just so if you get audited, if anyone wants to see how your corporation is operating and making sure that it is in compliance, then everything is documented in reference to you have your board of directors in order, your officers in order, you have a log of your annual meetings, and also the minutes that are related to those meetings as well. So it's a little bit more involved than a sole proprietorship and also a general partnership. Now let's talk about a management for a C corporation. The the and from a management perspective, it's managed by the directors, and the directors are elected as well by the shareholders. So and and this kind of allows a lot of flexibility in that a corporation, whether it's excuse me, whether it's a C corp or an S corporation, it allows the owners to hire themselves as employees of the corporation, and then it allows them to take advantage of the company benefits of an employee, like medical insurance. So that's one of the perks of a corporation. And also looking at it from a liability perspective, and also taxation too. So for liability purposes, the corporation does protect the owners from liability if something does go wrong. And also, when the company incurs debt, then that is related to the company, to the corporation specifically, whereas the owners, they're not personally liable and their assets can't be taken to settle any type of debt or a lawsuit. So it does offer protection if there is any liability, in that the lawsuits are brought against the company instead of the owners. So it does definitely have some benefits from a liability perspective for a person that's considering filing for a C corporation. Now, for tax purposes, for taxation, then for the corporation, it's people, well, the company and the owners, it's double tax. So both the corporation and the shareholders are taxed. So that's a bit of a drawback for a C corporation. Now, what's interesting is for an S corporation is taxed only once, where the owners are responsible for any taxes that are due. So it's quite interesting in looking at those two side by side. And I'll talk a little bit more about an S corporation as well, which is pretty similar for the most part, as a C corporation too. So with that, we'll just continue with the S corporation. And with the S corporation, we're basically following the same theme here with, business formation. How do you form it? The number of owners that are involved, management, liability, taxation as well. And as far as a best fit is concerned with any of these types of business structures, it just basically depends upon your needs as a business owner, and also what your intentions are, and also considerations about liability that's involved and how much you want to protect yourself. So a lot of things, come into play. So with that, let's talk about the S corporation, which is pretty similar to what we stated earlier about the C corporation. So the S corp, it's when it comes to business formation, again, you would file the proper documents with the state of Nevada, and also you would also elect the S status with the IRS, in addition to filing for the articles of incorporation. That's really important. So you want to elect, letting the IRS know that you're electing to file as an S status corporation. Also, looking at the number of owners, again, there are one owner types of S corporations that are allowed. And oh, excuse me. Let me clarify that. So with the S corporation, there can be a one person owner with the S corporation. However, there's no more than 100 members or shareholders are permitted with an S corporation. So it's a little different from a C corporation in that regard. Looking at it from an operational perspective, the S corporation, it's the same as the C corporation in that you do need to form a board of directors. You do need officers that are in place. You need to have an annual meetings, and also doing reporting as well. And again, being very diligent in your efforts to record and document the meeting minutes, and just making sure that you're in compliance of operating such as a corporation. And this is for both a C corporation and an S corporation. Now, looking at the liability of an S corporation, it's similar to a C corporation in that the shareholders or quote the shareholders they're not personally liable for the debts of the corporation either. So it does give people a lot more of protection and not as much exposure as a sole proprietorship or a general partnership, being an S corp. Looking at it from a excuse me, from 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 what would be a best fit, then again, it really is on a case by case basis with a corporation. And also looking at this from if you what's interesting is if you would talk to an attorney or if you talk to an accountant and you ask them, what type of legal business entity should I, apply for? Should it be a sole proprietorship, a general partnership, a C corp, S corp, an LLC, which we will get to in a minute? What do you think? It's quite interesting. An accountant will tell you one thing, and then an attorney will tell you another thing, but both are very valid. So as far as a best fit, it really does depend upon on a case by case basis. So with that, let's continue. And I'm just basically giving you some basic information about what each of these legal entities entails, just so to get you informed, to kind of jumpstart your thinking about this particular step and which direction you're going to go. And this is a great way of finding out more information before you make the commitment and paying the fees that are associated with these types of legal entities. So continuing with a limited liability company or an LLC, it's quite interesting with an LLC in that it's it's like a hybrid basically, and it combines the benefits of a corporation and a partnership. And with this, it has the features of from a taxation perspective of a partnership, and it also has the limited liability of a corporation. So like a partnership, a limited liability company, the person or the person or people that are a part of the LLC, they are people that are a one person show, and they are have an LLC designation. Um, they can basically have that protection of a corporation when it comes to lawsuits, when it comes to the company incurring debt. So it does offer protection in that regard. from a taxation perspective, it's taxed once, and the owners, they are responsible for taxes that are due as well, just as a sole proprietorship and a general partnership. Now, looking at it from a management perspective, an LLC, um, an LLC, the it's kind of interesting, as the members of the LLC, if it's more than one person, then they also have like an operating agreement as to how the company is going to be managed. So it's kind of interesting how similar this is to a general partnership. So those are some things that you want to consider if you're looking at filing for an LLC. Some of these advantages as well. So with that, this is basically an overall overview of what an LLC is. And when I was an entrepreneur, I my legal business structure was a sole proprietor, and with the intention of becoming an LLC to offer me more protection and less liability. It's very daunting when you work so hard and someone, and through whether it's intentional or unintentional, being faced with the possibility of a lawsuit. That's really devastating to a small business. Well, business in general. So if you need some type of insulation or cushion, so to speak, to give you that type of protection from that type of liability, then you may want to consider an LLC, and look at it from a protection perspective. So those are some things that I wanted to review with you, generally speaking. Now, in addition to these legal business structures, I also wanted to share with you about a DBA. So I know that we're going a little bit into licensing here, but I just wanted to just bring this up really briefly about a DBA and looking at some of the things that are common. So basically, a DBA, it's a fictitious business name. Um, if your business name is different from your personal name, then basically you need a what is called a DBA, a doing business as name, and you can get a DBA through your state or local agencies when you apply for your business license. So it's really important to know that with the DBA, if you want to do business under another name that's different from your own personal name, it's important to get this particular designation, a DBA, and this really helps you to avoid the possibility of fraud from occurring. So, for example, let's say that John Smith sets up a painting business, and instead of operating under his own name, John instead chooses to name his business John Smith Painting. So this is considered to be, an assumed name. It's not exactly his legal name of John Smith is John Smith Painting. So what John will do is John will register it with a government agency to get a DBA. So John Smith is DBA, or doing business as John Smith Painting. So it's about going the extra step just to make sure that when you do file for any types of permits or your tax ID number with the IRS, your legal name of your business is required on all of these types of documents. So you want to make sure that if you have a DBA, or if your business name is different from your legal birth name, or your legal name, then you have to take the extra step in getting a DBA. Now, these are some different scenarios where a DBA would be beneficial. So let's say if your business legal structure is a sole proprietor or a partnership, then and you may start your business, and if your business name is different than your real name, then as a sole proprietorship or a partnership, you need to register it as a DBA. Also, if you are an existing corporation or an LLC, if your business is already set up and you want to do business under another name, excuse me, you want to do business under another name other than the existing corporation or LLC name, then you'll need to register a DBA as well. So those are some things that I wanted to share with you about a DBA and how it's connected to some of the legal business structure options as well, such as a sole proprietorship, an LLC, a partnership, or an existing corporation, and how that all ties into the whole DBA option or dynamic of things when it comes to licensing your business. So with that, that is just an overall like business legal structure one-on-one webinar that I wanted to share with you. And with that, we'll go ahead and we'll flip over to the live chat online through our channel on YouTube with the Nevada Women's Business Center. And we'll see if anyone has any questions and any comments, and I will do my best to address them. So I will switch now from the slides and address those. Well, my apologies. It seems that we're having some technical difficulties with our live chat broadcast. Um, Definitely the live stream is up and running. So thank you so much for tuning in with us through our YouTube channel on the Nevada Women's Business Center. If you have any questions that you wanted to submit or any comments, again, I apologize for the technical difficulty of not being able to do so through our live chat on our YouTube channel. However, if you would like to submit any questions or comments, then please give me a call. If you would like to set up an appointment for any counseling sessions, then please do so. Our phone number is area code 702-734-3555. Also, if you'd like to check us out online, please go to our website at www.nevadawbc.com as well. If you would like to come in and for a scheduled one-on-one appointment, please do so. Please give us a call to schedule an appointment. And also, if you're thinking about starting a business, if you've already started your business and you have some more in-depth questions about the formation of your legal structure, please give me a call, and I can also refer you to some of our resource partners that are experts in this particular field as well. And again, it's a pleasure to have you tune in with us. If you feel that this is a really convenient type of format to have our educational events streamed live through our YouTube channel at your convenience so that you can view it on your laptop or your desktop or mobile device. Please let us know. Um, please give us a call and give us any comments that you may have. And also, please stay open to attending any webinars or in-class trainings or workshops that we offer around the community as well. So again, with that, thank you so much for tuning in with us with this overview for the legal business structure, some options to explore, and also thank you again for your understanding about the lack of the live chat feature for your questions and comments, but please do reach out to us. So, on behalf of the Nevada Women's Business Center, I'm Kathleen Taylor, and I look forward to engaging with you more in entrepreneurial education and development and training. Thank you. Take care. Bye.